Recently I was asked a couple of questions on the nature of philosophy, on the hukm, the ruling of studying philosophy and reading the philosophical sciences. Before I answer the question, brothers and sisters, I think it's important to kind of set the context, because often I'm responding to this question for British Muslims or Western Muslims at large. Now, we live in such a day and age where there are a multiplicity of different philosophical theories constantly competing with one another, literally on a daily basis, and we interact with them whether we know it or we don't. And for the most of us, we don't even know these philosophies. We don't know the fact that we're engaging with philosophical ideas, philosophical theories, and people are philosophizing on our behalf. We are not even privy to this fact, subhanAllah. For example, take free market theory, the very nature of the economic system that we are engaged with on a daily basis, buying and selling. It's a science, it's a theory. Now we are engaged with that. Secular liberalism, so on and so forth, various strands of political philosophy, let alone the metaphysical branch. Now, Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, Hujjatul Islam, Mohammed Al-Ghazali, and Al-Ihya, and in Al-Munqidh min Ad-Dalal as well, Deliverance from Error, a number of books, he describes that philosophy is of different types. There are various different types of philosophies. Now, I'm assuming that for us, as Muslims, one of the main kind of philosophies, apart from the political philosophy that I mentioned, one of the main philosophies that we really should be engaged with and we should be well read on is the metaphysical philosophy, metaphysical theories, because these theories are what have really taken hold of most of our youth, and unfortunately a lot of our youth have left Islam, whether we like to admit this reality or whether we shy away from it. And subhanAllah, just today I was on the phone with the director of one of the largest Islamic organizations in the world, with various different branches scattered around the world. And he said, look, we were speaking about this issue, and even he was kind of dumbfounded as to, he witnessed it firsthand, without going too much into it. I don't want to give away who it is, but he witnessed firsthand how this kind of affected the youth that he was interacting with, how many of them have left Islam, many of them have shubuhat that are qattafa, shubuhat that are literally, subhanallah, have taken away their iman, taken away their yaqeen, their conviction in Islam, in the proof of Islam. And really, Allahumma musta'an, we're in a dire state. So many of the fuqaha, now coming to the question, many of the fuqaha, when they address this question, and you can find it in all of the madhahib fiqhiyya, most of the books in fiqh, they address it across the different madhahib, the different spectrum of madhahib, whether or not you are the Hanabila, the Ahnaf, Shafi'iyya, Maliki, Shafi'i, for Shaykh al-Islam Zakir al-Ansari talks about this, Nas al-Mutalib. You have the Al-Buhuti, for example, amongst the Hanabila, he addresses this in Kashaf al-Qina', Ad-Dusuqi from the Maliki, so on and so forth. And pretty much the ruling is, there is a slight difference of opinion amongst all of these madhahib, but the general mu'tamid or relied upon opinion amongst these madhahib is that it is haram to engage or to read and study these philosophies along with other sciences. They equate it to other sciences such as sihr and stuff like this, magic and so on and so forth. The main reason that I can see is due to them doing i'mal or implementing the qaida usuliyya, the principle of sadd al-dhari'a, which literally means to limit something in order to prevent a further harm along the road. This harm in this particular case being the shubuhat, the doubts that may creep up in one's heart and affect their iman. So this is the general fatwa, but the specific fatwa, and you'll find this again in the books of the ulama, and especially in aqaid, especially the books of Shaykh al-Islam and others, that for those people of knowledge, ahlul ikhtisas, the people of knowledge, the people of specialism in aqidah and so on and so forth, really meaning the people who, subhanAllah, have a decent grounding in aqidah, then it is permissible for them to engage with these philosophical sciences. Not even permissible, subhanAllah, some say mustahab, some say even wajib. It may be an obligation for these particular people to engage with these philosophical sciences, depending on their grounding in the aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in order to defend Islam from them, And I really, really believe that us in the West, this is our context. This is especially what we are dealing with right now, for the reasons that I've mentioned previously. So that is the general fatwa and the specific fatwa for the people of knowledge, for the people who have a firm grounding. And brothers and sisters, we can't shy away from these studies. We can't shy away from political philosophy. We can't shy away from these metaphysical philosophies, these competing different arguments, atheism, so on and so forth. It's important for us to gain a grasp, a firm foothold in these sciences in order to defend Islam and to restore conviction to our youth and to the Muslims at large. And there are a number of other books that have been written on this mas'ala. subhanallah, take for an example, just, let's sidetrack a little bit. Look at the magnum opus of Shaykh al-Islam, his main book, the 11th volume, Dar al-Ta'arud bin Aqli wa Naqli. His famous book in which he separates that there is a contradiction between the Naql, the Wahi, the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Aql, the intellect or rationality. And I'll be completely honest with you, brothers and sisters, you will not be able, for those who even view themselves as students of knowledge, you won't even be able to get past the first volume unless you've studied mantiq, unless you've studied logic, which is a separate issue, but some equate it as part of a branch, one of the branches of philosophy, such as Ghazali and others. Unless you study mantiq, unless you've studied falsafa to a strong degree, and you've read the books of Ibn Sina, and you've read the books of the Ash'ari Maturidiyya, and so on and so forth, unless you have a firm grounding in these books, you will not even pass the first volume, let alone the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, where he goes into depth. For example, I think the fourth volume he talks about the different adilla, or the different reasons proving the existence of God according to the Ash'ari, according to the Maturidiyya, according to Ibn Sina. He critiques all of them. Now, without a firm grounding, you will not, subhanAllah, understand what is going on. You literally won't. You won't, subhanAllah. So the Tullab al-Ilm really have to expand their repertoire. They have to expand their toolbox, their toolkits, and they have to understand that living in the West, we have to rise to certain challenges, and we won't be able to do that unless we come out of our comfort zone, and we read and we study what we need to, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.